Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Another instrument cluster, but this time working on a 1997 VW EuroVan. These are in the Winnebagos and Rialta, so they use the same instrument cluster. I think the light might be okay. It's still the light outside, so I think the office is looking good. I'd like your opinion on that to make sure that it's not too dark. I've been watching my own videos and I think it's fine. Let me just show you what the difference that is with the light. Doesn't really give shadows, so maybe it's better like this. Better like this. So let me know what you think. All right, so sorry. Let me get you over to this view so I make sure that we're in again. But yeah, that is a glare that I was thinking of not having. Okay, let's put a small wedge behind one of my brushes in there. All right, this is from Joshua Luther. He sent this cluster a couple of days ago. I got it like probably 2 days ago. Let me read the information that I have from him. So let's read it together. As I usually do, I blare the information that is here. This is 3.2. I think I got it like the 3.3 or something like that. So almost a week ago or so, right? 6 days or so. All right, so hi Mike, I sent you a request, EuroVan cluster repair earlier today. I'll get it shipped. So yeah, you can see he shipped it. I think I got it at 6. Yeah, to be honest. The speedometer suddenly stopped working. I think I have checked everything in the van and I'm confident it is the cluster. And knowing this, you are in a correct assumption. Will you be able to tell if a wiring issue is in the van? Might have caused this once you have the cluster in your hands. Well, that will be until I open it up, right? I bought this van a few weeks ago with a half a dozen melted wires in the engine harness. Okay, well, that's concerning. I found the cause and I have repaired the burn wires. Okay, well, that's good to know. The van was running and driving fine for a few hundred miles when the speedometer quit. I just want to make sure everything is fine on my end before I plug it in. I plug in the repair cluster. I was getting codes 00545 and the ones you can read in there 16885. I am so glad I found your YouTube channel. I wish I had found it before I struggled through the understanding those VW wiring harness or diagrams. Your video definitely added clarity. Thank you, Josh Luther. All right, thank you, Josh, for those very kind words at the end. All right, so, well, it is there. So if you have something that needs to be repaired as far as automotive or marine ACMs, instrument cluster, look for MikeSalazarDiagnostics.com. My name is spelled M-A-I-C. I have 2 boxes in here at the bottom of the page. The white is for you to click and download a form that you can fill and send with your instrument cluster or computer or any module that you need to repair. The black one on the other side, right when I'm right now hovering with the small red hand, that is for you to send me an email. Please do send me an email before you send anything like that. We can start a conversation and see if I need anything else. All right, just a short commercial. If you want to see any more of my contact information, please scroll all the way down the page and you will see all my contact information, email address, the real address, and my telephone number right there. All right, so let's get to the test, right? So I got everything pretty much ready to, okay, except for power in here. Let me just think about what I'm doing in here. Should probably move the powers over to the simulator, so we are using the same source of power for everything. So I'm not going to use my power supply. I'm going to be using everything from the simulator. You are very familiar. If you are not, that's what I'm talking about. This is the simulator, which is also injecting or will be injecting the signal for the speedometers and so on. And I have a decay box in here, a resistor decay box and capacitors that I can maneuver. I am now at 970 ohms of resistance. That's for the fuel gauge and the temperature. But we will see that when I'm doing the test, and I will be moving those down up to 70 or even less ohms to make those gauges react. All right, so again, let's go back to this capture. Let me power this up. I'm ready for the signals, and let's power now this up. I could hear the cluster coming on. Hopefully you can see that. Let me turn this light on because I think it's actually against us. Yes, definitely it is, right? Now you can definitely see, and I can see on the screen that I have for me to see what you're seeing. That is definitely a better view. All right, so blinkers and high beam, I have those into one switch in here. That all the rest seems to be okay. So let's first put the speedometer, which is his concern, is right at the 10 miles per hour. See if we get to respond, because it says the speedometer suddenly stopped working. I'm going to keep that around half of the speed, around there, 70 miles per hour. Let me change the gauges for the fuel and temperature, and their response was good. We can see that in there. I'm going to change that so they can go higher. We will see that overheating light blinking shortly. As soon as I pass, that is there. So, and we should see the temperature rising, which is also doing it. All right, I'm going to come back to 70, which is around normal temperature. And I'm going to go over to 970, which is off. All right, that response is actually correct. That is not looking into anything in here so far bad. The cluster is responding very normal. We can see the response on the speedometer needle. Really good. So the response is actually really, really good, Josh. All right, so what I would probably recommend to do now, it will be to open up the cluster and see if we have leaking capacitors or damage on the actual cluster itself. All right, so let me stop the video and I'll be right back with the cluster open. All right, guys, I got the board out of the case. I did see some little things like spider webs and so on, but nothing really that brings to my attention, at least with the naked eye. So let's use the Amscope microscope, which I have pretty much ready here to go. So let's let me adjust it so it's into the correct height for you and for me. Well, let's do all that through the microscope camera, because I can adjust this pretty good here. And then all I will be doing is just moving the cluster around. We can definitely see some leakage on the LCDs. Give me 1 second, guys. Hi guys, sorry, I was trying to fix my lunch with a problem in DoorDash. Always something, right? All right, so let me get the camera here. So I was saying we have a little bit of a leak on the screen, not abnormal. I mean 1997, right? We got the other screen with the same look a little bit, but they're you saw that they're okay. Definitely the original motors are still installed here. Let me see. Yeah, that's the maximum zoom out that I can have. This is the 97. This is actually factory repair. They added a second ground that goes across and attaches to this, and it gets attached into the other connector where it usually has the mill on the newer models. We can definitely see some. Let's just go down something in here. A little bit of a fluid. The most common areas of damage in these clusters is right here, close to the capacitor, and also the connector area. So we're going to see around. Well, we don't have a connector in here, so let me get you here. Actually looks not in a bad shape at all. Again, sorry, I'm going a little fast. I'm trying to show you what I see with you guys. Let me get, I forgot that I'm not in that one, so circle. Yeah, at least I can be here. All right, yeah, even the solders don't seem to be cracked in the main connector. Let's get a little closer, right? You guys will be able to see a lot better. I'm going to go a little slower because, yeah, I don't want to get you dizzy. But yeah, that looks normal. I don't see nothing bad in there. We got more connectors in here. Those are for the screen. So, and the same thing goes into this side. These are for the screens. Gonna make sure you know where I am because I'm facing that backwards. All right, looking at the voltage regulator area, which is right here. We got some capacitors. That should be the EEPROM right there, the crystal oscillator, the tachometer motor. And this is what I was seeing in here. You know, we have a nice spider wave in there. Looks like we got still something in there. It's not alive. Let me see that, guys. Because I see something in there. I don't want to be bitten. Yeah, no. It's just the shell of a spider. I'm getting rid of that. Very sticky. This is the major problem on this cluster, this area. It usually gets damaged by the capacitor leaking. Let me get into the microscope to see if I see any fluid from the capacitor, because even though it's not obvious, I'm going to remove it. So I'm gonna get this camera out of focus. Just 1 second, guys. And I'm going to put you into the other cameras. As you have already probably noticed, when I move into the microscope camera, the volume of the microphone gets a little lower. All right, so let's get this capacitor out. We're doing, an analysis and diagnostics because I want to make sure that, correcting this will fix the problem he has on the car, right? That is a solder sucker. Attach to the cap and to the board. All right, so it is already desoldered and I can see it moving, but as this leg is still attached, that one is nice and loose. Yeah, it was definitely leaking. All right, and let's see what we see now on the microscope. So let's go back to that capture. Sorry for that super fast movement, but trying to get this as quick as possible. And we can definitely see the fluid in there, so that is definitely your problem. And this is the cap, so we can see the acid already coming out of the capacitor, and that will get it shorted. So we can see that whole side on the black area where the fluid is being leaking. So yeah, this is definitely the problem right here, guys. So all right, as I was saying, that is definitely the problem that we have in this cluster. So this is enough for me to condemn it and be able to now perform a repair. In this case, what I would do is replace all the stepper motors, capacitors, and diodes, resolder the board. Even though this one looks pretty good, I don't care. I will do, because I give my warranty. So this is definitely where I'm going to beyond repairs, and we'll do a test after, right, to where we reset the needles and everything. But yeah, this is what I usually do. I don't try to show, or I don't show this many times because it's a little repetitive. But if you guys like to watch this, I guess I do it too. And then we can do the analysis and diagnostics and then perform the test after the repairs. All right, guys, so I'll be right back with the cluster all together, and then we can see it working normally, even though this one was not producing the problems. And the reason is obviously it needs to be run in the vehicle with a lot of more vibration and temperatures and so on, but that is definitely no doubt about the problem. I guess to show you a little bit about what's going on. These motors were stuck in there. I mean, I had to actually rip this one in pieces, the one for the speedometer, so because it was stuck into the board. So, yep, I mean, more to add to his concern, even though we were able to move it back and forth. Just to show you a little bit of the process going on, and that's it. All right, I got the separate motors and everything ready to go. Let me just, I want to power up to see the lights. I put new bulbs in it. Let me power this up. All right, lights are all in. All is good. I always do this before I put everything back together. I forgot to mention that this has 135,474 miles. All is looking good. All right, let me put the covers on. This might be a little bit on your way, but I need to see, so and also get you to hear me. Oh yeah, this is going to be in the way. Maybe there. No, that's in the way as well. Nice. Hopefully that is okay for the sound. So what I usually do is just set the needles into position to be reset. And these ones, they gotta stop, so we can push them down a little bit. Oop, a little too much. And then find you see that's like at the bottom. And I just go to like, it's a little hard to do with recording and also doing it at the same time. Kind of like in there, that's what I usually do. And I make sure that you leave a space for the needle to settle. This is already the maximum, so you can, and also make sure that it's not hitting the bottom, right? So that's very important. Let me get this, because if you do it as you're moving it, it will find the zero really easy. And this one we have a shorter and a long. The long goes into the speedometer. All right, this still needs to be reset. That's kind of good. And this one we can carefully pass it through, and then just set it into the zero again, softly, and do the same thing in here. That's kind of like what I do first. You guys can see, yeah, pretty good in there. The seals are okay. All right, so all right, let's power this up again. Let's put a speed. Make sure that goes into 10 miles an hour, and yep, it is perfectly in 10 miles. I'm going to turn that off. Make sure it comes back to zero. I can move it just a little tiny bit. And that's what you want to do before you completely cover the cluster. Yeah, that looks a lot better. All right, one more time. Yeah, perfect. All right, so let's make sure that we can get to I have this, I'm spinning the wheel on mine simulator. It just takes a time to respond. It's still on 22, 23, 22. I don't know what is happening with this. I have to change it, but I mean, it's just so much to remove. Finally, it's picking up, as you can see. And I'm gonna set it up to around the middle, just to make sure it's steady in there. Let's do the temperature and fuel one more time. Yeah, all is looking good in there. I'm going to 20 ohms to get that light to blink and get that one to respond high. And let's do it perfectly. And then back to 970, we should turn them off, and they're turning off immediately. That's good. Always make sure when you set in the needles that the phase is actually in the knobs in here. That's very important. Seems like the fuel is a little off. Let me reset that one up. Temperature. Little. No, it is good. And remember, this is very fine tuning. Yep. Let's do it one more time. And then back to 0. Okay. That looks perfect. All right, so that's how I set the needles in here. I can kill the power or the signal, and that should make it come back to 0. So yeah, all right, so Josh, your instrument cluster is now fully working. You can see now the lights and everything on. Let me turn this out. You can see the 3 lights all working good. One more time, the blinkers and the high beam. All I need to do now, it will be to put the face on the cluster, the lens. I always do a nice throughout cleanup and everything, dust it out, and then ready to be shipped back to the customer. All right, guys, hopefully you like a little more of what I'm trying to show here. Again, without showing the little tricks here and there that I have my own. But yep, everything is good in this cluster now with all the new parts. It should be good for another 20 years. Hopefully, right? Because obviously microprocessor and some other things are still old, but those are very long-term components. All right, guys, thank you so much for visiting the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye-bye.